Hey, so what position did you play in football?
Defensive line and fullback.
And fullback?
Yeah.
She's running over fools, bro. Let's go, baby. This is Monty Mansfield, your local neighborhood hope dealer, the host of the 90 and 90 podcast. Today's show is going to be on fear, false evidence appearing real. It is inevitable. We are going to have to face fear at some time in our life. When it comes towards us, we look at it in its eyes and we look back and we do it anyways. We have to do it anyways. And then it will disappear and then we will have faith. We'll have faith that makes a fool of what makes sense, and faith will have us trust the mystery. Fear will try to come back into your life again, and then we grab it by the neck like this and we look at it and we ask it, we say, hey bud, let's go get sober. Episode 3 coming at you. Let's go, baby. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your local neighborhood hope dealer, episode 3. Let's get sober, baby. Hey, first episode, we talk about gratitude, right? We got to be thankful. We got to have the attitude of gratitude to be able to stay positive every day. And then the second episode was on acceptance. We have to accept exactly where we are at that given moment. And now today, we're going to mess with fear, right? False evidence appearing real. We got to be able to use a powerful tool called faith, which helps us trust the mystery, guys. Hey, I'm the hope dealer. I ain't selling dope. I'm selling hope. And hey, if you really want to pick up, let's pick up this, the clean drink, right? It's the clean drink. 50% of all proceeds goes back into recovery, and I'm ready to pop one of these right now, baby. Tasting good, baby. Hey, on today's episode, we got guest Ray Walker. He was an awesome athlete in high school. Then he got into trouble with the law. He went to prison. He's turned his whole life around. Now he works in detox. He runs a solid program, and he has continued to be a light in the dark on this planet. And we're so thankful to have him on this show today. How's it going, Big Ray?
What's going on, man? Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I can't believe that I'm sitting here with the hope dealer, man.
Hey, man, we're so thankful to have you on here, bro. Hey, enjoy one of these clean drinks right here.
I'm going to need a couple keys of that hope when I'm done after the show.
Hey, brother, I got hope all day, baby. Hey, and I give it away for free because it was freely given to me, bro. I'm super thankful to have you on the show today. I feel like I relate to you because you were an athlete. You know, you were a star athlete, and then you got into some trouble with the law, and you've been able to turn your whole life around. But let's start from your childhood, all right? I know for me, I grew up with my dad was an addict, and my mom was not an addict, but I didn't learn the discipline when I was a child to be able to handle life on life terms as I got older. So how was your childhood? Were your parents addicts, or, how was your childhood?
Well, you know what? Ironically, growing up, my parents weren't addicts. I come from a pretty good childhood. Both my parents were in the military.
Okay.
And came from a religious background, going to church twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. And, I was always taught to do the right thing, and, eventually growing up, I was always getting into trouble. I was always, the problem child, the kid at school, getting expelled, getting in fights, and I just didn't really listen, and I think part of it was because I didn't know my real father. I was raised by my mother and a stepfather.
Okay, I see.
So, growing up, I always had questions about, who's my father? Where do I get these character traits from, and eventually as I got older, moving around a lot, being in a military family, I was always looking for acceptance. I was always the new kid, and I was always seeking new friendships, and eventually I went down the wrong crowd, partying, having fun, and I was playing sports in high school, football and wrestling mainly at Poway, and partying was a big part of that. We'd smoke weed before the games, and surprisingly, I didn't get kicked off. I didn't get kicked off the team, and I had a reoccurring injury with a hip. I dislocated my hip, and I had a pin put in place to keep the femur bone in the hip socket. So I had a lot of chronic pain. Dealing with that.
Yeah, they say, back when I was playing baseball, a lot of scouts used to say, I have a good chance to get to the big leagues barring injury. That's pretty much that. I had the talent to be able to make it, but it's the injuries that come into your life that end up derailing you, you know. For me, I know that sports was very important to me in my life because it gave me my confidence. It gave me my self-esteem, you know. Like when I was in high school, when I graduated, I actually signed autographs after my senior year. So for me, the partying and all that didn't start for me until about my second year of pro baseball when life hit me on life terms. But you got to understand that the drugs and partying and that whole scene, it feels so good that it ends up derailing us off of our path, you know, and we end up going and gravitating towards the party scene, the women and all the things like that. And is that kind of what happened to you in your life?
Yeah, definitely. Like partying became a priority, you know. After the football games, you know, I look forward to going out with my friends and drinking and having a good time, you know. And I put that over everything else in my life, you know. The drinking progressed. It progressed to, you know, using cocaine and ecstasy. And eventually it would go to prescription painkillers, you know. That's what really got me hooked and going down the wrong path.
Yeah, if we stay on that path of addiction, you know, like for me too, it started off with drinking alcohol just to loosen up after games, to be able to talk to women. I felt like it would take me out of who I was, and I would be able to be this totally different person, you know, but it gets progressively worse because we got this thing called tolerance. So it ends up getting bad if we continue to stay on that road, you know. And for me, with fear, I feared a lot. I feared the future a lot, you know, when I was playing baseball. I constantly future tripped, and I never had faith. I never walked with a higher power. I was just going off of my own flesh, you know, my own self-will. And I was continuing to you know, just beat myself up over and over and over again, you know. So pain pills is what really took you out in the end. What kind of pain pills were you taking?
Man, in the beginning it started with Vicodin, you know. I was just getting them from friends, and then, you know, it progressed to Percocets, and then eventually it progressed to the Oxycons, you know, getting the 80 milligram pills, and you know,
jeez, man, you were taking them green monsters, baby.
Yeah, man. It was all bad from there. You know, that's really what that got me hooked, you know, because a lot of my friends, when they first started using the oxys, I told myself, you know what, man, I'm not going to be a dope fiend. You know, I'm not going to be a junkie. And it wasn't long before, you know, I was doing the same thing they were doing. You know?
Yeah, most definitely, man. The drugs, it gets progressively worse, and then you progress into heroin,
Yeah. So when they stopped making the Oxycons, one of my friends was just like, hey man, I know something that'll work just as good, you know. And I started smoking heroin.
Yeah, I remember the Oxycontin. They made it like a different substance. Like they made it like a jelly substance, so like you actually couldn't smoke them anymore. So a lot of people, because they couldn't break it down into water, into a soluble, they started doing heroin, and it really ended up ruining people's lives. Yeah,
that's exactly what happened to me. And you know, probably within like a month or two of smoking heroin, I started injecting. You know, I told myself that I would never touch a needle. And you want to know it? It wasn't long before I had a needle in my arm. You know, and then guess what? It progressed to meth. You know, and the meth, it got me to my bottom even faster. You know.
That's crazy. You know, I don't remember the first time when I injected too, man. It like changed my whole life. Like I was like, this is the best thing that ever happened to my life. And the first 2 years, what happens with that lie right there is like the first 2 years, you know, you're able to hit because you have veins, right? But then that third year comes around and your veins are running from you, man. Now you're ugly. Now you're losing your looks. You're losing everything. You're losing everything around you. Now you're hiding from garage to garage. You're absolutely isolated and you're just absolutely miserable. And then what happens is we start going in and out of jail. You know, we start to get the site release. After site release, after site release. So let us know a little bit about your experience with jail, man. Let's hear this.
Well, you want to know? I'm the type of addict that I can't hold down a job when I'm in active addiction. You know, I can't hold down a job. You know, I might show up for a couple of days, and then the next thing you know, I'm looking for shit to steal in the back.
Yeah, bro. I know what you're saying, bro. Yeah,
you know,
amen, bro.
Looking to steal shit, not even from my employer, but from the employees that I work with. You know, so I eventually turned to crime. You know, first it was, you know, just selling drugs. You know, and eventually, you know, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because, of course, I'm going to start using them. You know? So then it went to stealing, breaking into people's houses, you know. Eventually, you know, I started stealing from people that I loved, you know. I started stealing from my own mother, you know.
Man,
I don't even know how much money I've stolen from my mother, you know, and I've took advantage of those that really loved me, you know. I ended up going in and out of county jail in Riverside and San Diego. I want to say in 2012, I did my first prison term. Ended up going to fire camp. The funny thing about that is that they offered me a program, and they said, you know, you could do the 6-month program, or you could take 3 years, 8 months in jail and go to prison, you know? And so my thinking was that, you know what, I'm not ready to change. You know, I'm not ready to change. So, you know what, give me the 3 years and 8 months. And I ended up going to prison. And the funny thing about that is after I got out of prison, I ended up right back at the same program that they offered me in the first place.
Oh, man. Know? Yeah, you just delayed it.
Exactly. You know, I could have did this 22 months earlier, but instead, you know, I did it my way. And, you know, the funny thing about that is I believe that God's going to put us where he wants us. Even if we go our own way and do the things that we want to do, God put me right where he wanted me. It just took 22 months later, you know?
No, I absolutely love that, Brian. I believe that, you know, that God has us exactly where we're supposed to be at that given time, you know, because a blessing isn't a blessing if it's given to you too early. You know, you got to be able to handle the blessing, man. But I really wanted to ask, when you were in prison, right? A lot of people want to know, like, did you see drugs in prison? A lot of people want to know if there's a lot of drugs going on in prison. Did you see a lot of that?
You know what? Yeah, there's drugs there. I didn't get involved in that. I went to prison twice. The first time, I didn't get involved in that. The second time, I got involved in drinking, you know, but I never got involved with any drugs because, you know, I'm not the type of person that wants to be high on meth. You know, there's a lot of meth there, you know, so I'm not, I don't want to be up with a bunch of dudes. You know?
Hey, bro, I totally understand you, man, on that, bro. We had a guy that was in jail with me, right? And I seen meth in jail one time. I was in the bathroom and in the woods, when you run with the whites, they're called the woods, you know, and they ended up bringing this one little line out, right? And this dude snorts it, right? And he's up all night long and he's like digging at stuff. He's picking at stuff and he ends up getting in trouble because you're just totally noticeable now at that point, man. So like, to me, it wasn't fun to do drugs in jail, but also what I'm trying to get at is that you're able to find drugs anywhere on this planet. So you have to want to be able to change yourself from the inside out. You're going to, because you take yourself with you wherever you go, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I've learned is that I've had to change myself as a person, because for me, like, I went on the East Coast and I got sober, but I took myself with me and I tried to do just free will at that time. So I had 8 months clean off of straight free will, but you got to be able to work a program, which I call recovery. And there's a difference between recovery and abstinence. All right. Hey guys, I'd like to give a shout out to myrecoverymatch.com. Yes, I said it. myrecoverymatch.com. Click the link in the bio and go find the love of your life. I know it's hard to relate with other people outside of recovery, but this is a website, a safe place where you can go find love. Let's continue to spread the good news and let's get into that sobriety mode. Let's go, baby. So, hey, welcome back to the show, man. Hey, I want to take us back a little bit, Ray. I want to take us back to like before prison. I want to talk about treatment a little bit. I know you've been to some treatment centers. I know you've been to insurance-based and you've been to state-funded. I know for me, before I went to treatment, I was super afraid of like the come down, of how hard the come down was going to be, you know, and I was super afraid of that. So just give us a little insight on what it's like for somebody that's out there, that's really struggling, that's really questioning on going to treatment or not. How was your first experience with treatment?
Well, you know, I've been to 5 different rehabs in my life, you know, and the first one I went to was an insurance-based program, and I was there for 30 days, you know, and I went to detox for 7 days, and of course, you know, they medicate you, so they try to make you as comfortable as possible during the detox process, you know, and then after they took me to the inpatient part for I believe another 28 days, just going to group, you know, meeting other people and. I didn't really have any intentions on staying clean. You know, I was pretty much just there to satisfy my family, you know? And I've also been to state-funded programs, you know, like Salvation Army. I've been to that program twice. I've been to VOA twice. Okay. You know, so I definitely have a lot of experience, you know, and for people that are considering going to rehab, at first it's going to be kind of scary because you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting into the unknown, you know. So there's definitely going to be a lot of fear there, you know. So you just got to face your fears, you know, and you got to know what you want, you know. And no, I didn't get it the first time. I didn't get the second time, the third, or the fourth, you know. But I feel like I'm on to something the 5th time, you know. I need to thank Salvation Army for that, you know, because the program there is structured. They don't just teach you skills on how to get clean and stay clean. They teach you life skills. They teach you to get up every day and go to work. Then they incorporate the spirituality part. And that's really what I was lacking. You know, I was spiritually bankrupt, spiritually dead, you know. So the first time I went to Salvation Army, I didn't want anything to do with the whole God concept, you know, just because the way how I was brought up in a religious family, going to church every day, you know. But about 90 days into my first time there, I was miserable. And I knew I still had another 90 days to go. You know?
Bro, it's a long program.
So, you know, I said, man, what's the point of me being here 3 more months and not giving it a shot? You know? So I became willing, you know. I started doing the things that they started telling me to do. I got a sponsor, you know. I started working the steps, and I became honest with him, you know. And I was the type of person that I didn't believe that the 12 steps would work for me, you know. I was completely convinced that the 12 steps was just a bunch of bullshit. But once I started working the steps, I started to feel different. I knew that when I used drugs, I was powerless over it. You know, I obsessed about it. You know, I start craving it, you know. And then step 2, you know, when I came to believe, you know, I was still kind of struggling about step 2 because I didn't want anything to do with God. You know, but then I realized, like, man, when I'm in control of my life, like, I mess it up. You know, I fuck it up every single time, you know? So I started working step 2, and then step 3, you know, I turned it over, you know, and I felt at ease and at comfort knowing that I'm not the one in charge. I'm not the one running the show, you know? But one thing that I didn't really grasp is that I have to continue to turn it over, you know? And I'm the type of person, I like to take my will back, and I like to do things the way how I want to do it, you know? So, the first time I went to Salvation Army, I stayed clean for 2 years, you know, and I met a girl. I met a girl.
Oh, man. myrecoverymatch.com, baby.
Unfortunately, it wasn't like that, you know. I met her at Salvation Army, you know, on the 3rd floor. You know, they say fraternization is a big
bro.
no-no.
They are bad on fraternization right there, brother.
So, you know, of course, you know, I was, you know, being sneaky about it, you know, and eventually she started using, and I started using too. Of
course, man. I've never seen so many relationships start right there on the stairway.
Hey, if you're considering going to treatment, stay away from the females. You know, work on yourself.
Hey, guys, that's some amazing news. I'd have to say, hey, oh, shoot. Hey, man, guys, this just in right now. Hey, we got our biggest donation, man. Awesome. Hey, Big Rudy from San Jose, right? So we said that we were going to shoot this off when we got our biggest donation, right? And it wasn't just $1. It was several dollars, baby. And I like to say this. Let's go, baby! Yeah! Hey, Rudy! Man, hey, we really appreciate that. You know, we want to keep the lights on. We want to keep spreading the good news, man. We want to pay for our editor because this is an amazing opportunity, not only for us to get the word out there, but also like you, guests can come on and they can share their testimony, right? It's just an amazing, amazing, amazing thing, man. And for me, the Salvation Army, what was so amazing, what was the key for me to get sober was not only introducing me to God, because I believe that you seek the Lord and then recovery happens. It took me a long time to turn my life over to God too, because for 37 years, I wanted to chase pleasures. I couldn't even understand the Bible. The thing about the Salvation Army, they have this Bible called the Life Recovery Bible, and it relates the Bible to the 12 steps, and I could just read it, and it was like it loved me back. I was like, man, this Bible loves me back, and it was almost like the big book, right? It loves me back, you know. It's like it actually speaks to me, you know, because I was at a rock bottom, man. I know that, you know, you were you know, a star high school athlete, you know, and then you could say that you became a junkie, right? At that point, most definitely, you know what I'm saying? And we hit rock bottom, and you like to talk about reservations, right? So you had reservations all the other times that you went to treatment, right? You knew that you were going to go back out there and get high. You know what I'm saying? I tried to go to a place called Victory Outreach. I tried to go out there. It's like in the middle of the desert, and I tried to get clean. I remember calling my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm going to be a preacher, like 4 days clean, right? Just thinking that I was going to turn my whole life around. But I wasn't running a program. I was just stuck out there at a ranch, you know? And I remember going on a walk with one of the clients there, right? And he tells me, he goes, hey, man, he goes, there's a bus stop about 8 miles that way. And right away, because we suffer from an obsession, it already started talking me into going home, right? So I stayed the night. In the morning, I walked 8 miles, or like, it was like 5 miles to the bus stop. And I ended up going all the way. I end up taking the bus all the way home, right?
Yeah.
And I end up walking all the way home until I'm like so dead tired. I'm like on a 10-hour walk, and I'm walking along the railroad tracks, right?
Yeah.
This is how bad I just wanted to get out of this treatment center after somebody told me that there was a way out because of the obsession, right? I get home and these cops pull up on me, right? Hey, these cops pull up on me. I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
You asked them for a ride?
Yeah, bro, it was the first time in my life that I was actually, hey, man, I'm not on drugs or nothing, man. Can I get a ride?
Yeah.
They end up taking me home. They end up going to my front door, my mom's house, and asking her if she knew me, right?
Yeah.
I end up walking into the house, and she ends up telling me that the treatment center had already been calling her because I went AWOL, and it was this big old deal, you know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't want to get clean, but I didn't want to sit there and wait in a treatment center if I wanted to get clean. And like I said, if there was 10 people around me before I went to the Salvation Army and they told me that only one of you were going to make it, I would have got scared and I would have had fear and I would have left. But this last time, because of the gift of desperation and the rock bottom, and I was ready to surrender, if you had 10 people around me and you told me that only one was going to get clean, I would have been like, you guys are all screwed, baby. The hope dealer's coming and moving and grooving, baby. But to me, the Salvation Army has work therapy. How did that help you with your recovery?
Man, work therapy, what it did for me is, man, it got me out of my head. You know, I feel like one thing with some treatment programs, with a lot of programming and a lot of classes, I feel like it keeps you in your head. You know, so by working, 8 hours a day, I didn't have time to think about getting high.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because right after work, there's classes.
Yeah.
So it keeps you busy. I feel like as an addict, I need to stay busy. And it definitely prepared me for after I got out of the program because I had that work ethic. I could outwork the people that that I was working with at an actual job. So I feel like that's the importance of having work therapy. Another thing is having goals. Having goals, because now that I got clean, like, what am I going to do with my life, So I feel like setting important goals or setting goals and trying to get somewhere, finding your purpose in life is definitely something that goes along with having a good work ethic, But I definitely believe that having a strong support group in recovery is something that'll help you get further in your journey of recovery.
No, I love that. I believe that, like, if you hang out with bad people, you're going to have bad behavior. You hang around with good people, you have good behavior, and I like to hear that, because you're coming up on 2 years sober, so you're taking your time to work the steps, and I like that. It seems like you're really digging deep, and you're really starting to learn about yourself, because like I said, the first 3 steps is we got to find God. The next 4, we got to be able to clean out our baggage, right? The 10th step is that we have that filter step, that we can continue to do moral inventory so we can stay in the moment. The 11th step is to get on your knees and ask God for his will and the strength to carry it out. The 12th step is like what I like to say the show does. It carries the message. And then we continue to get the chain of success as we get sponsors, you get sponsees, and we continue to keep moving and grooving. Dylan Hope, you know what I'm saying? And I love to do that, bro. So what do you do? What are some of the habits that you do to be able to stay on the pink cloud that we got right here? We got the pink cloud, and that's just running a solid program and continuing to have joy, like continuing to have the attitude of gratitude.
Man, I reflect, and I look back at, how far I've come. I definitely feel like it's okay to look at your past, just as long as you don't stay there.
I love that.
And it's also good to look at your past with gratitude, because, man, when I was using, man, I was hopeless. I was hopeless. I had lost, any self-worth, any dignity, any confidence. I was afraid of the future. I was afraid of success. I was afraid of failure. I didn't really know what my future held. Praying has definitely been something that's been a tool for me to overcome fear, to overcome any anxiety. Meditation is great. I remember when in recovery, when I was first trying to get clean, I used to deal with a lot of anxiety, and somebody suggested, why don't you meditate? I looked at him like, man, what the fuck are you talking about? Meditation? I
love it, bro.
You just want me to sit there like some Buddha.
Amen, bro.
But I became open-minded to new things, and I became willing. And man, meditation, it works. It works. Being able to just focus on just breathing and calming yourself down, you know, it's definitely been a tool for me to overcome fear and any type of
Yeah, I like how you talk about that. Like for me, prayer, I pray every single morning. I ask the Lord to clean my vessel and use my hands as instruments, you know. So what prayer does to me, it keeps me lined up and it keeps me like on that right path. So I remind myself every single morning on the path that I'm on, you know what I'm saying? And prayer has been a big impact in my life, man. Hey, we're going to have to take a quick break, all right? We're going to get back to the story. I can't wait to hear the rest of it. And hey, let's go, baby.
Let's go.
If you guys had any questions about sobriety or about fear, let's hear how you guys handle fear, man. I'm always available, man. I'm the hope dealer, baby. I'm continually trying to spread the good news, and I'm just super thankful to be able to hear your guys' feedback, man. I want to be able to see and learn about my audience and how they're doing. Oh my gosh, we got a spider in the house. Oh my goodness, look at that lingering. Hey, I'm gonna smack it away, right? Your addiction, right? It always kind of wants to linger right here behind you. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're just gonna flick it right there, bro.
Right.
We're gonna get that thing out of here, bro. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of it, man. We're gonna crush our addiction, man. All right, we're gonna get back to the show and we're gonna continue to save lives. It's a crazy because I had played pro baseball, right? So in my hometown, right, people knew me as a pro baseball player.
Wow.
And there was a time the night before Thanksgiving, man, I ended up getting arrested, right? And I'm in the back of the cop car, and the cop recognizes me, and he ends up going, "Oh, you're that junkie. You're that ex-pro baseball player junkie that we heard about, Monty." And he pulls up my baseball cards, right, on the computer screen right there.
Yeah.
And it was just such a humbling moment within my addiction. And these type of things, it's crazy because in my addiction, it was such a bad experience, and I felt so much shame. But now walking with God and Him turning my mess into a message, I actually I'm thankful for everything that I went through. You know, like you said, like God puts you in the situation exactly where you're supposed to be. Like now I'm able to go because of the Salvation Army, right? That I did a year right there. So doing a year in that program, you're building the foundation so you can have the blessing of sobriety. So a lot of people end up leaving the Salvation Army early and they're not ready yet to handle the blessing because the blessing's not a blessing if it's given to you too soon. But do you have any individual experiences with cops that you can tell the audience about?
You know what? Not really. They were just doing their job. Every time they arrested me, you know, I was guilty.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been arrested where, you know, I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Know, so I remember I got picked up by some bounty hunters one time in El Cajon, you know.
Jeez, and, it wasn't Dog the bounty hunter, was it?
Nah, it wasn't Dog. You know, thank God, you know.
Amen,
but he did give me a cigarette before he took me to jail.
Did he? What a good man right there. I love it.
Yeah. But no, I don't really have any negative experiences with law enforcement, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I actually look back and like to me, like honestly, a lot of like I believe everybody that was trying that I didn't like at that time, they actually were trying to save my life. You know, probation, you know, the cops, like everybody was trying to save my life. And because I was in such a realm, I was in such a, you know, I was in my addiction so bad that anyone that really was trying to help me, I was trying to push them away. You know what I'm saying? And it was just an absolute struggle. I want to talk about I want to talk about the scars, you know, in our life. You know, like for me, I'm thankful for all the scars that have happened. I'm thankful for the pain. You know, I'm thankful for the scars on Jesus's hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful for these things. But let us know the story about the scar on your right arm.
This is definitely a reminder every time I look down at my arm. You know, I have a gash right here. There's another one right here, and then there's another one on the inside.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
And you know, in my addiction, I was an IV user.
Yeah.
You know, I was an IV user. I was shooting heroin and crystal meth.
Yeah.
And you know, one day, I did a shot, and my arm just swelled up. You know, really big. Yeah. You know, my fingers were about the size of sausages, polo sausages. You know, polo sausages. And I ended up having cellulitis in my arm. And they took me to my ex at the time. She took me to Sharp, Linda Vista, and as soon as I got in, they took me right back. You know, normally, you know, when you get to the ER, you have to weigh and fill out paperwork. They took me straight back.
So you knew it was something wrong.
Yeah, it was something serious. And the nurse asked me, you know, what happened, and I was honest with her. You know, I was like, you know, I used drugs, and you know, I stuck a needle in my arm, and Next thing you know, they had me on an operation table. They had me on an operation table within probably like 20 minutes of being there.
Yeah.
And they told me they were just going to do a quick procedure. You know, next thing you know, they put a mask on me and I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I wake up, and I wake up probably like 2 or 3 hours later, and my arm is just like burning, you know, burning, and it's all wrapped up. And later on, they take me to the room where I'm going to be staying at for the next 6 weeks, and they take the bandages off, and my arm was fat, you know, and I'm looking, and I could see everything in the inside of my arm, you know, bones, tendons, ligaments, in every single one of these gashes.
Yeah.
You know, so they packed it with gauze. They had like some foam wrapped around my arm, and it was hooked up to a vacuum, which was draining the infection. Yeah. So I was in the hospital for about 6 weeks. Jeez. And you want to know what? Having an experience like that, most people would be like, you know, I'm good on drugs. You know, I don't want to use anymore. Yeah. But you want to know, I'm powerless over my addiction. And, you know, when I was in there, I was still using while I was in the hospital. Yeah. You know, I was still using. Yeah. And that's how I knew, like, I had a problem. Yeah. Even the nurse even came to me, and because they would come in, you know, the nurse would come in and check your vitals. You know, I was completely out, you know, drooling on myself, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm just tired." You know,
making up every excuse, bro.
So she was like, "You know, I'm gonna need you to pee in this cup." You know, she wanted to UA me, and I of course, I was defiant. You know, I told her, "No, I'm not gonna pee in the cup." Yeah. You know, and then eventually, you know, I ended up giving her a sample, you know, and I was testing positive for heroin and meth, you know. Yeah. And then they had the director from Sharp Mesa Vista, the rehab. He came over and talked to me, and he was like, you know, after you're done here healing from your injuries, I think it would be a good idea for you to walk over to the street, walk next door, and go check yourself in, you know. Yeah. And man, God was always trying to reach out to me, you know, and I didn't go. Yeah. You know, matter of fact, at the time I was out on bail, you know, I was out on bail. My self-will was just running riot. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and,
yeah, that's a sickness, Mo. That's like a near-death experience, you know. And I got a story, man. I was in a hotel room, right, over in Riverside, right, and I had a guy that I had met in jail, and he was in the hotel room with me, and it was my my girlfriend at the time, and then my buddy, right, and they were using heroin, so they're nodding off. You know, she was actually asleep, and it was like 3 a.m, and I'm in the bathroom, and I do a shot, right, and I come out, and my buddy goes, "Hey, man, I haven't seen my girlfriend in a long time," and he had just got out of jail, and he goes, "You mind if she comes over to the hotel room to come see me?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem," right? So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, right? And all of a sudden the door knocks, right? And then so all of a sudden the door opens, and there's a little Mexican girl, right? And she's sitting there and she's crying, right? And these 2 big dudes come flying in behind her, and they have lasers on their guns. And I'm sitting there, and in my brain it's like all in slow motion, and I jump up, right? And I'm thinking like, what is going on? And I jump up, and the guy literally points the gun, and he shoots me in the chest, and it was a taser, bro. So it was a taser, right? And it drops me, and in my mind, right? My mind, I'm like thankful that it was a taser. You know what I'm saying? And I lay on the ground. Right? And he gets and the guy that they're there for, he jumps over the bed, and he goes and locks himself in the bathroom, right? And I'm laying on the ground. Well, when I get up, the one dude, and these dudes are big, bro. These aren't little Mexican dudes. These dudes are big. They're like Cholo Olympians. You know what I'm saying? And and the dude kicks me in my face, right? And the blood explodes everywhere. It's like a murder scene, right? And they end up taking the guy out of the bathroom, right? And they end up taking him out, right? And the guys point the guns at us, and they tell us this. They say, "Hey, you guys count your blessings and stay on the floor for 15 minutes, and you're free to go." Well, they end up taking this guy out of the room, right? And my face is shattered, right? And I just been hit with a taser. I'm thinking that I'm gonna die, right? So we end up leaving the hotel room, and we end up going home, right? And I don't want to go to the hospital because I don't want to get the cops involved, but I eventually have to go because I'm losing so much blood, right? I end up going into the hospital, telling them that I got kneed in the face, right? I got kneed in the face by my buddy in a football game over at the park. And so they end up putting these 2 cones up my nose, right? And I'm sitting there like, I got these 2 cones up my nose, and then I'm sitting there, and I've lost so much blood, I can't even get up out of the bed that I'm in, right? So then she tries to put an IV in my arm, right? Well, she can't find a vein, and at that point they realize like I'm a drug addict. So you know what it's like to, you know, to have that shame and that guilt, right? So I end up getting enough energy to go out to the car. But the point of my whole story right here is that the first thing I do when I get in the car is I put a needle in my arm and I get high because I'm so powerless to the drug. I almost died. Like we almost died. Like I thought I was going to die, you know what I'm saying? But that was a moment right there in the last year of my addiction where I realized like, hey, I need to find another way. I need to try to do something different. And when I look back, because we understand life backwards, but we live life forward, I look back and that was a moment where God was like saying, hey, you need to get out of this lifestyle or you will die. Because in the beginning it was fun. It was like partying, getting girls.
It all starts as fun.
Exactly. Now I'm around guys that come in with tasers and guns and kidnapping. I mean, bro, it's like now I'm putting myself, the fun is over, my boy. The party's over, bro. I need to find a whole new way of life now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Addiction takes you to institution, jails, and death, but you're still alive. You're sitting here. You're spreading your good news. Tell us some of the positive things that have happened in your life since you've gotten clean the last 2 years.
Man, since I've gotten clean, man, you know, I've become a productive member of society. Amen. You know, I got off parole. You know, no problems. You know, no dirty tests. My PO didn't have to come looking for me. You know, I have a job today. You know, I worked. First, I started off, you know, washing dishes at a restaurant downtown. And you want to know what? I hate washing dishes.
Right.
I hate washing dishes. But you want to know what? God made me start where He knew I didn't want to be. You know. Yeah. So in order for me to appreciate what I have now, I had to start doing something that I didn't want to do, you know. And now today I get to work in recovery. Amen. You know, I get to work around fellow addicts like myself, you know, and I can relate completely to what they're going through. You know, a lot of these people, they're fighting for their lives, whether they know it or not, you know. And you know, today I have goals. You know, I just finished a trade school for construction, pretty much residential construction, learning how to build houses from the ground up. That was one thing I told myself I wanted to do, you know. I wanted to have goals and complete them, you know. So I finished that, and now I'm looking to get into personal training. You know, I'm looking to get certified in personal training. Another thing is, you know, I have a car. I have a roof over my head. You know, I have a car that I own.
Yeah, you know? Amen. Right, you don't have to borrow it.
Right, or borrow, or you know, I got the keys to it. There's not a screwdriver in the ignition. You know,
amen.
So these are just all blessings that that being clean has given me. You know, and you know, the perspective change. You know, today I actually care about people. You know, today my mother can actually call me for money, you know, instead of it being the other way around. You know, that was a big that was a big change. You know, that's how I knew like I'm on the right path, when I'm actually able to give back to a woman that's always been willing to give to me, even when I was in the wrong, you know.
You're a giver, bro. You're not a taker no more.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, recovery switched the price tags back, and now you know what to put value in.
Exactly.
And you're continuing to build these amazing relationships, you know. And that's the most powerful thing about recovery, man. So, hey, let's just finish up with this, man. Hey, do you got anything out there that you can tell to the fresh addict? I know you work in detox, so you see the fresh addict a lot. But if we could finish off the program right now, and by the way, thank you so much for your time, bro. Just an amazing, amazing story.
Thank
but
you
if you have anything good to say right here at the very end to shed some light on addiction right here to the newcomer, let's hear it. Let's let it rip, baby.
Well, you know what I would say to the newcomer is you're fighting for your life, you know, because fentanyl's out there killing people left and right. You know, fentanyl it's no joke, you know, and all I can tell them is, you know, be open to something out of your comfort zone, you know, be willing to experience something new and be honest with yourself, you know, because I know for me, a change couldn't take place if I wasn't willing to look at myself honestly, you know. Stay away from females your first year.
Amen.
You know, because I know when you get clean, you know, all of a sudden you want to go and you want to seek pleasure still, you know. I know for me, I did, you know, and that ended up taking me out. And I had to start all the way from zero again, you know. But actually I wasn't starting from zero, I was starting from experience, because now I have the experience and I know what to look for. So I'd say, you know, just go to treatment and work on yourself and be honest with yourself, you know, get a sponsor, work the steps, you know, have a positive support group, you know. Another thing that works for me is telling myself affirmations. you know, because I know the disease is in my head and it wants to tell me negative things. You know, it wants to feed off of my negative past and get me to go back out there and pick up. So telling yourself positive affirmations, you know, reading self-help books, you know.
So you're saying pretty much early recovery, you want to be able to find your solo, right? You want to be able to find out who you are before you can bring any other entity into your life, man. And I absolutely love that, bro.
You have to build a solid foundation and then build from there, you know. And in order for me to build a solid foundation, I had to just be with myself. I had to get comfortable being me and know who I am before I'm able to go anywhere else, you know. So that's what I would tell the newcomer, you know, go to some meetings, find a good treatment program, and just work on yourself and be honest with yourself. You know?
Yeah, so I've been wanting to do this, man. Hey, thank you so much for that right there. I've been wanting to do this. Can we do a duet on the count of 3? Can we both do a let's go, baby?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, baby.
What an absolutely amazing episode, man. Thank you, Ray, for sharing your experience and your strength and your hope and really shedding the light on fear and recovery, man. Hey, leave some comments. We want to see your clean date. We want to see if you have any questions about treatment, about recovery. If you want to ask me any questions on how I do what I do, how I wake up every day and how I'm full with gratitude, I would love to answer your questions. I want to get more personable with our audience, man. I want to give a big shout out to Rudy for his donation. We got to be able to keep the lights going and we got to be able to pay our editor, you know, so we want to continue to spread the good news, guys. Hey, we used to spend money on dope. Let's spend a little money on hope, baby. Hey, tune in for the next episode, but if you can you guys like, subscribe, and ring that bell because today's a good day to get sober. Let's go, baby.
I really appreciate what you guys got going on here, man, because you guys are really selling hope, you know? And I feel like that's really what's going to help us fight the pandemic, you know what I mean?
Man. Thank you, bro. I love that. We're definitely trying to share the good news and put a light on fentanyl because we've seen people die left and right. 12 people at our treatment center had died in the last year, and all they did was think they were going to go out and use one more, and they're not here no more. You know what I mean? And that's the true reality of it, you know?
It is.